Hey again, it's Tracy, and I'm here responding to the discussion post from this week about social justice. Let me start with the fact that family, especially my children, is so important to me, and it leads me into my own personal golden rule for counseling, or what I hope to have as when I become a counselor, and that would be to do unto others as you would have done unto your family members. That being said, my ultimate goal in counseling is to be an advocate for children and their families. So the social justice focus this week is really up my alley. I teach middle school right now, fifth grade currently, which I'm normally a seventh or eighth grade teacher. So I do see a lot of children from all different walks of life coming in and out of my classroom, but I feel sometimes that my hands are tied when it comes to helping advocate for them, and especially the ones who I see truly need help in a way that I can't give to them within the classroom four brick walls. I feel like that's why I've gone into counseling, is to be able to help them in a different way because I see what they bring into the classroom on a daily basis. I don't want children having to go to school wearing the same clothes every day, or coming in worrying about being kicked out of their apartment or their home, being evicted, having to sleep in cars. I've had students who are homeless. I have students who worry about leaving the school because they don't know when their next hot meal is going to be, and it may very well be the next morning at breakfast when they come back to school. So I'd like to be able to help advocate for these children and their families, because without the proper connections, they may never break this cycle. And I feel like this cycle that they're living in is the number one area that hits them when it comes to education and a young child. So when children don't come to school prepared, when they come to school hungry, or they come to school worried about what's going on at home, their school suffers, their education suffers. They don't retain the information that they get. They don't get engaged in class. They remove themselves from relationships and friendships. Sometimes they can end up being the bully or easily being the one who gets bullied. So I feel like that's a really tough situation for them. I'd like to break this cycle for kids if I can. So I feel like that education is the number one key to breaking that cycle. And if they can't come to school ready to learn and being engaged and taking away from class what they need, then they're just going to be stuck in that cycle forever. So I really feel like the Bible verse that reflects the support that I stand, or the support that I have for social justice for children and their families, is Isaiah 1, verse 17. It says, "Learn to do good, seek justice, correct oppression, bring justice to the fatherless, and plead the widow's case." So even though as counselors we want to help, just by the very nature of us being counselors, or those of us who are on our road to being counselors, it tells us that we want to help others. That's our nature. But this Bible verse stands out to me because it supports the social justice aspect of counseling for those of us who want to focus on the oppressed and those without a voice. So as I'm beginning this journey, I feel that I'm being led to take action in the field of children and their families. I'm leaning towards the area of helping those who are dealing with the foster care system and possibly families of those children. I have my own experience having been a child of the foster care system, so I feel like it's a calling to me to work with those kids. I think these families are sometimes their needs they fall through the cracks. These children fall through the cracks. People don't realize what their situation is outside of the classroom, so it makes it very difficult for a teacher to help them. So I feel that's why my hands are tied sometimes. So I would like to be able to ensure that they get what they need to get a good education, so that they can believe the phrase that you can do anything and that you set your mind to, and believe that it does actually apply to them. So that's my stance on social justice, and I look forward to any replies, and I hope you guys have a great last week of class.